Let us for a few moments meditate on Sri Ramakrishna and pray for the well-being of the whole humanity. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya Cha Dhammasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya Cha Dhammasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avataravariष्ठाय Ramakrishna te Namaha Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In the last class, we were discussing the topic taken from the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna's profound wisdom. In every page in the Gospel you find Sri Ramakrishna's teachings vibrating with tremendous power and wisdom. So, how the incarnation of God works in this world through His own personal life and teachings. If you closely observe the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, you find that all those teachings are already there in some form or other in our scriptures. The beauty is that Sri Ramakrishna puts them in a very simple way, supported by his own personal experience in spiritual life. So, it gives a kind of awakening to all of us who are seeking truth. So, it's a great joy to study and concentrate upon the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. In one of the teachings, Sri Ramakrishna has said, in this particular age, it's called Iron Age. The golden age is Satyuga, Iron Age is Kali Yuga. It's impossible to get rid of the illusion that the self is one with the body, which cling to us. That means man is totally identifying himself with the body. He is very much after his identity One person was asking, when that person died, the lady was asking me on the phone the question that she could not bear the separation of the person who died because they lived together for many years, 60 to 70 years. So now separation comes, she can't bear it. She was putting the question that whether he would remain in this body elsewhere. I had to tell her, how can you even expect that? The body, gross body, disintegrates. And the man was suffering like anything. He had 2-3 operations. He could not walk, he could not breathe, he could not eat, he could not sleep. Don't you think it's a great relief for the soul if the person has passed away? Why don't you think in those lines? But she can't assimilate that philosophy. I told her, without philosophy you can't sustain the life. It becomes a kind of frustration and disappointment. But you have to learn a lesson that everybody born in this world must die. None can escape. Lord Krishna had to go, Sri Ramchandra had to go, everybody will go. They will have to go in order to show that this gross body is totally impermanent. So, where is so much attached to that identity? And she was asking further whether that soul would remember her in the region where he would go. I told, forget about it. Do you think he will remember you? Once the body is left, nobody belongs to anybody. It's all illusion. Why should he remember you all the time? Why should you remember him all the time? You are suffering, is it not? But that person was very close, so I could tell her vehemently. And all this is happening because of the dreadful attachment towards the body, the physical body. The soul has left the body and she was loving that body so much. So all this is because of false identification with the illusion. That is Deha Buddhi. Deha Buddhi is very prominent. As long as you are having Deha Buddhi, you have to bother yourself all the time. Even amidst pleasures of life, you will be bothering. You can't avoid bothering as long as you identify yourself with the body and think that it is permanent. So, Sri Ramakrishna is telling the truth that in this age it is impossible to get rid of the illusion that the self is one with the body. Sri Ramakrishna said this in this gospel. Now the conclusion which the jnani must come to us is, I am not the body. I am one with the universal soul, the absolute and unconditioned being. First of all, the thorn of body consciousness has to be burnt into ashes by the fire of jnana, by the fire of knowledge. In fact, when Sri Ramakrishna was practicing Advaita, when he was meditating upon the absolute Brahman, in the beginning he was not able to concentrate because he would see the form of the Divine Mother flashing in his mind. So he had to remove that form by applying knowledge. Same thing has been said by Acharya Shankar. Atma jnanamayaha punyo deho mamsayo shushihi tayo raikyam prapashyanti kimajnanamataha param. The meaning is, the self is of the nature of knowledge and is pure and holy. What is this body in which the soul is living? This body is made up of flesh. It is unclean. It is impure. Mamsamaya kosha, made up of flesh. And yet people perceive an identity between the two. Is there any unwisdom worse than this? Shankaracharya asked this question. Swami Vivekananda also deals with this subject, which Sri Ramakrishna has told us very clearly. Swami Vivekananda says in his teachings that when Swamiji says, when I think of myself as the body, I am only a body. It is meaningless to say I am something else. And when I think of myself as a soul, the body vanishes and the perception of the body doesn't remain. None can get the perception of the self without his perception of the body having vanished. We come under the delusion that we really have a dual perception of the soul and the body. But such a perception never really exists. The perception is either of the body or of the soul. It requires no arguments to prove it. You can verify it in your own minds. Swamiji, the embodiment of knowledge. See how he expresses his ideas so clearly. Another profound wisdom of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna says, when you are raising a building, the scaffolding is indispensable. Normally speaking, nowadays they do machines. But normally, if you go to the countryside, scaffolding is required for raising a building. But when the building work is completed, no one feels the necessity of it. The scaffolding is no more required. So also, Sri Ramakrishna says, image worship is necessary in the beginning, but not afterwards. When you get maturity in devotion, when you come close to the reality, then the image worship is no more required. As a man begins to learn writing by drawing big scrawls before he tries to master a smaller hand, so a person must acquire the power of mental concentration by first fixing the mind upon the forms, and when he has attained success therein, he may easily fix it upon formless later on. But everything has its utility and purpose that we should recognize. First steps are not to be despised. Toys are not to be denied to children, though to the elders they may be of no use. Preliminary processes have certainly their place and their value in all endeavors. There's a famous passage in Yoga Vasishtha which says, Ajñāta Shivatattvanam Ākārādyarchanam Kratam Yojanādvanya Shaktasya Kroshādva Parikalpate. It says, formal objects of worship are devised for the use of those who have not yet realized the essence of beneficence. Going by miles is devised for those who cannot go by leagues. Swami Vivekananda also has his comments on this topic, on this teaching. He says in his works, the first part of religion is Vaidhi Bhakti. That is the lower phase of worship. In order to attain to the state where we can realize, we must pass through the concrete, just as you see children learn through the concrete first and gradually come to the abstract. Religion is a long, slow process. We are all of us babies here. This is Swami Vivekananda's words. We may be bold and have studied all the books in the universe, but we are all spiritual babies. We shall have to begin now in the concrete, through forms and words, through prayers and ceremonies. And then step by step we shall come to the abstract. Understanding develops abstract realization one can really experience. Where would I have been, Swami Vivekananda says, if I had not been blessed with the dust of the holy feet of that orthodox image worshipping Brahmin? He is referring to Sri Ramakrishna. And he says further, we are all born idolaters. And idolatry is good because it is in the nature of man. Who can go beyond it? Only the perfect man, the God man. The rest are all idolaters. It has become a trite saying that idolatry is wrong. And every man swallows it at the present time without questioning. I once thought so. And to pay the penalty of that, I had to learn my lesson sitting at the feet of a man who realized everything through idols. I allude to Sri Ramakrishna. Swamiji says, if such Sri Ramakrishnas are produced by idol worship, what will you have? The reformer's creed or any number of idols. Take 1,000 idols more if you can produce Ramakrishnas through idol worship, and may God speed you. Well, these are quite very interesting to dwell upon. Another profound wisdom of Sri Ramakrishna. He says in the Gospel, God cannot be seen so long as there is the slightest taint of desire. Everything is clear here. There is no ambiguity. You don't have to ask any question at all. If you have got desire, you won't have the realization of God. That's the meaning. Therefore, have your minor desires satisfied and renounce the major ones by right reasoning and discrimination. Right reasoning and discrimination. In fact, if you have to come to spiritual life, you must be bold enough to accept the truth. And you must be bold enough to understand the significance of renunciation. Don't simply hide the truth because you can't follow it, because you have got desire. So, Sri Ramakrishna is telling you pointedly, have your minor desires satisfied and renounce the major ones by right reasoning and discrimination. Major ones means lust and gold. That is it. They are the most bothering desires of everyone. The more a man's attachment to the world, the less he is likely to attain knowledge. The less is his attachment to the world, the more is the probability of his gaining knowledge. Again, I am quoting Yoga Vasishtha. It's beautiful, actually. It says, Shruyatam jnana sarvasvam shrutva chaiva avadharyatam bhogecha matrako bandha tatyago moksha uchyate. Yoga Vasishtha is telling, listen to this, Shruyatam, listen. He is drawing our attention to this particular verse. Listen. The essence of all knowledge, and having listened to this, digest this well. The desire for enjoyment, the desire for pleasures, which is called bhoga, that alone is bondage. What is bondage? It is the desire to enjoy. That is the bondage. And the renunciation of that desire is said to be liberation, moksha. That's all. Clear. Now what Swami Vivekananda says on this topic, that's also very uplifting for us. Swami Vivekananda says in his teachings that so long as there is desire, so long as there is desire, there is no real happiness. No real happiness can come because the desire obstructs that. It's a stumbling block. All happiness which comes from the senses will eventually bring pain. Until a man has conquered the desires for enjoyment, the truth will not shine in him. So long as these vain desires are clamoring and as it were dragging us outwards every moment, making us slaves to everything outside, to a little color, a little taste, a little touch, notwithstanding all our pretensions, how can the truth express itself in our hearts? So long as there is desire or want, it is a sure sign that there is imperfection. A perfect, free being cannot have any desire. Therefore, it has been taught by all teachers, desire nothing, give up all desires and be perfectly satisfied. Because all these teachings are well defined in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The next profound teaching of Sri Ramakrishna is also very significant. See, gospel is a text for spiritual aspirants. Please note that. It's not for. It's not like you're reading a novel. This gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is meant for spiritual aspirants who want spiritual growth, who want to practice spiritual life, who want to realize God in this human birth. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is the text. So, every word is important. Every teaching is important. It has got tremendous value. Sri Ramakrishna says, again, taking from the Gospel, bondage is of the mind. Freedom too is of the mind. Of course, this, again, I'm telling this is also from the Upanishad, but Sri Ramakrishna puts in a nice way the same teachings. If you say, I am a free soul, I am a son of God, who can bind me? Free you shall be. If one is bitten by a snake and can say with all the force of will and faith, there is no venom, one will surely get rid of the venom. A person once said, the innate nature of a substance can never be changed. Another person retorted. He said, well, when fire enters charcoal, it destroys its innate blackness. So, when the mind is burnt by the fire of knowledge, its innate nature too is destroyed, and it ceases to be a snare. Now, coming to a Sanskrit verse, I am just making a comparative study so that it's so joyful to study this way. The need for mind control is repeatedly stressed by all the great teachers of religion. Manaso nigrahayattam abhayam sarva yoginam dukkha kshayaha prabodhaschapyakshaya shantirevacha. To all ascetics, the state of fearlessness is dependent upon the control of the mind. This control results also in the destruction of sorrow, the acquisition of superior illumination, and the possession of infinite peace. Swami Vivekananda also has dealt with this subject nicely. Controlling the mental powers is the first great aim in yoga practices. The second is concentrating them in full force upon any subject. The great saints and teachers were those who had conquered this world of thought within themselves, and so they spoke with power. The greatest force is derived from the power of thought. The finer the element, the more powerful it is. The silent power of thought influences people even at a distance, because mind is one as well as many. The universe is a cobweb. The universe is a cobweb. Minds are spiders. Well, let us try to take these ideas and put them on the mind screen, on your front, so that you are aware of these ideas constantly and try to practice them sincerely. You get the truth. That's all that is needed. First knowing the truth, then practicing it, then you will get the result. I am starting the new chapter today, chapter 38, page 724, with devotees in Calcutta. On the morning of Wednesday, March 11th, Sri Ramakrishna and some of his disciples visited Balram Bosa's house. Balram was indeed blessed among the household disciples of the Master. Sri Ramakrishna often described him as a rasadar, or supplier of stores, appointed by the Divine Mother to take care of his physical needs. Balram's house in Calcutta had been sanctified many times by the Master's presence. There he frequently lost himself in samadhi, dancing, singing, and talking about God. Those of the Master's disciples and devotees who could not go to Dakshineshwar visited him there and received his instruction. He often asked Balram to invite young disciples such as Rakal, Bhavanath, and Narendra to his house, saying, "These pure souls are the veritable manifestations of God. To feed them is to feed God Himself. They are born with special divine attributes. By serving them, you will be serving God." And so it happened that whenever the Master was at Balram's house, the devotees would gather there. It was the Master's chief vineyard in Calcutta. It was here that the devotees came to know each other intimately. Yam taught in a school in the neighborhood. He often brought his young students to visit the Master at Balaram's house. On this day, having learnt of Sri Ramakrishna's arrival, Yam went there at noon during the recess hour of the school. He found the Master resting in the drawing room after his midday meal. Several young boys were in the room. Yam prostrated himself before the Master and sat by his side. Asked him tenderly, "How could you come now? Have you no school work?" Yam replied, "I have come directly from school. Just now I have no important work to do." A devotee said, "No, sir, he is playing truant today." All laughed. Yam said to himself, "Alas, it is indeed as if some invisible power had drawn me here." The Master, looking a little thoughtful, asked Yam to come nearer. He said, "Please wring out my wet towel and put my coat in the sun." Then he continued, "My legs and feet are ache. My legs and feet ache. Please rub them gently." Yam felt very happy to be given the privilege of rendering these services to the Master. We shall stop here. Any questions or your comments? Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about? Yeah. I already told you, major desire means the thing which bothers you terribly. For example, lust. That's the one that bothers. Eating a little rasgulla or taking some pan, it doesn't bother you much. But if the lustful desire is there, it bothers you, and you can't do anything, and all your energy is, everything is driven out in that direction, and you are not satisfied till you fulfill that lustful desire. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is pointing out. And the other one is about the greed. The more and more they earn money, the more and more they want to earn, and they indulge in all vices, and whatever the money they get, not sufficient. It's terrible, actually. See how it leads one. If the desires are not controlled in a proper way, if the association is not properly selected, you will be in great danger. Great danger. In fact, I know one example. I had told this in this class long time back. Probably might have forgotten. And that incident was, there was a student who came from countryside. Of course, he studied in our Ramakrishna Mission school in Mysore. His cousin also was there. Both of them got first class. Of course, our Mysore institution is very good, the best, I should say, in whole India. So, as soon as they came to Bangalore for joining graduation degree courses, they applied for the seats in our students' home in Bangalore. And they had merit, so naturally they were selected. They were cousins, but the one boy got admission in a very near college. It is a walkable distance, about 15 minutes walk, National College, famous college. He got the seat there. He was very happy, he got the seat. But the other one, even though he was also a first class student, he could not get seat there. But he got the seat in cantonment area, which is far away. You have to catch the bus, you have to go by bus, you have to return by bus. College is good. St. Joseph College, that also I remember. St. Joseph College. All the teachers, they are all very good, Christian fathers. Nothing against that. They are doing very well, their job. It's famous college. But the boy had to go long distance. And by the time he would return, it would be evening, late evening. He could not attend our sports. See, in our students' home, we had nice setup of discipline. Our idea was, the students of our ashrama should not wander in the streets like stray dogs. So we want them continuously, they are engaged. As soon as they come up from the school, go to game. As soon as the game is over, come to prayer. As soon as the prayer is over, go to studies. As the study is over, go to dining hall. After dining hall, relax for a while. Then go to studies. Then go to sleep. Then get up early morning. All well set. Well set. And of course, myself and Prabhudan, who is head of the San Francisco Center, we were together at that time. It was, I should say, the happiest days of my life with those children. And of course, myself and Prabhudan, we both of us liked each other. So, a good combination. He would watch. He would know everybody. 100 students were there. He knew everyone. And if anyone is absent, he knows it. Simply, if he looks at a person who is absent, he knows Swamiji has recognized that he was absent. Anyway, and we were very strict in one particular point. That is, you should not give any reason. You must present for the prayer. The prayer was at 7 o'clock. So we would never excuse anybody on that point. And we would warn them, if they repeatedly absent at least 2-3 times, they would be asked to go out. They can go and stay in hotel, wherever they want, they can enjoy their life. It's not for them. So they were very, very particular about things. And this boy would go to cantonment and return. He could not attend the games. Sometimes he could not come to prayer also. Sometimes he would come late to the dining hall. So, what is happening? And he is a son of a coffee planter, richest man, coffee planter. And every month his father would send about 200 rupees. Those days, about 20, 30 years, maybe 20 years back I am talking about. There, the rupee was still stable, not like today. But 200 rupees was like a salary he would get every month. Every month he would send for his personal expenses. And we had accounts of all the boys and children. Whenever they want to come and take money, they would go use the money whatever they want to. But here, in this particular case, what happened was, all the money, whatever he would get, would be used up by him. There was not a single cent left in the account. And we heard the complaints that money was being stolen from the rooms of the students. That was really frightening, because we want to know who is that culprit, we want to catch. So, of course, Prabhudanji, he said he would go to dining hall. When the dining hall, all the children would be sitting in the dining hall, and Swami would be present there. So that in order to maintain the discipline. And he told me to watch, and we appointed 2 students to watch in the corners during the dinner time. Who is that culprit? Who is stealing the money? We want to know. And we found out that person, the same person, the coffee planter's son who returned from college, just entered into a room and stole the money. And the person had kept the money in order to verify whether it's being stolen. He made some signature, etc. So it was proved, everything was proved. And afterwards it was found out, and the boy was caught, and he was called. Why did you do that? He could not say anything. He felt ashamed. And then what happened? Then the story. Why? What happened? His father was sending 200 rupees, but that money was using up. He fell in company of bad people, bad association, bad friends, developed all bad habits, and the money was not sufficient. He was stealing the money from other rooms. And the result was, the bright student, he failed in PUC, pre-university course. He failed. The other boy, the cousin, he got meritorious. He was joined the National College very nearby. See how company, what happened to that boy. So major is this wealth, the greed for money. The more you get, the more you want to use it. You develop bad habits, that's the point. If you use it for a good purpose, it's all right. How many people do use for good purpose? Very few people only. Normally, they use for bad things. The more the money, the more wants are created. So, it's a vicious circle. So, major obstructions, what Sri Ramakrishna points out, dust and gold. If you can take care of those two things, all other things are nothing. I am not taking onion, I am not taking garlic. These are stupid things. Whether you take onion or garlic doesn't matter. Most important point is lust and gold. So that is the major thing. These are minor things, don't worry. According to your little things, whatever, little appetite, you have it, doesn't matter. It doesn't bother you. But that one bothers you. Lust bothers you. Greed bothers you. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. See, Rama's case, you must know, Ram, he was born with the specific purpose of killing Ravan and other Rakshasas who were tormenting the world. With a specific mission, he was born. Not simply to rule the kingdom. And so the game has to go. The point is, when he has taken human form, he has to behave in a human way. Otherwise, it cannot be called as a human life. See, Rama very well knew that Maricha was the disguise, disguising himself as a deer and attracting the Janaki. Though he told many times to Janaki, don't believe that, but Janaki forced him to go. Janaki is the Divine Mother. Did she not know? It's true, they all know it. But when they take the human form, they have to behave in a particular pattern. So they come with a little Maya. They themselves impose it. It's just like acting. Suppose you want to act a part in a drama, you have to wear that particular dress and you have to act in such a fashion, you can act properly. So just like that. And Sri Ramachandra himself, it's not that he was not aware of his universal aspect. He was very well, he knew very well that he was the Paramatman himself. That's why he could give liberation to Jatayu. And Bharadwaja Muni, he could recognize Sri Ramachandra was a veritable God of the whole universe. And Vishwamitra recognized it. So it's not that Rama didn't know that. He knew it, but still, in order to behave in a human way, he had some kind of Maya imposed on him. Even these monkeys also. The monkey, why they are monkeys? They are not like ordinary monkeys. Half human being, half animal body. It's a particular special type of animals. Vanara. That's why they are called Vanaras. So they were all gods in their previous. They were all gods born to help Sri Ramachandra. So they came with a specific purpose, and they had to take care of all this, kill all these Rakshasas who were tormenting. In fact, Janaki was telling in the forest, well, Rama, they are also my children. See, Janaki became aware of her divine motherhood. Immediately she says, why should all the people be killed because of one fellow? Then he said, no, don't worry about that, because the Rakshasas are creating problem now and then. All the rishis are terribly suffering, so we have to kill them because of their evil tendencies. So because they are being killed by Rama himself, they are not to be born again. So they are liberated. That's all. That benefit is there. Because they were being killed by Sri Ramachandra, they get that liberation. So, in order to act in a human way, they have to behave in certain ways. And Sri Ramachandra, Janaki also says, I could have burnt Ravan with just my one look, but she didn't do it. The reason was, Rama's glory is important for her. She said, Rama should kill, not me. See, these are all finer aspects of life. In order to show how the people should conduct themselves in the path of religion, in the path of dharma, Sri Ramachandra came. And it is not easy to practice truthfulness. It is not easy to renounce the whole kingdom and wear the ascetic dress and go. So, story goes. We shall stop. 30th is the last day. Well, we shall have. We shall have. We shall. Good. Very good. I'm happy to do that. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It is always nice to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its curve to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bought for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for Thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is Thy servant, O sweet one. In Thy mercy consider him as dust beneath Thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from Thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without Thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at Thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of Thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of Thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O Thou, who stillest the hearts of Thy devotees, do with me what Thou wilt, for Thou art my heart's beloved, Thou and Thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear, may the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works be satisfied, for He being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.